Within few days of Lando Norris securing his first world championship, the global reaction has been unusually split for a newly crowned title winner. In the UK, headlines focus on his rise, his consistency, and the composure he showed across the final third of the season. But outside that bubble, the wider fan base has been far less enthusiastic. Months of frustration have built up around Norris, and winning the title hasn't softened those feelings. The patterns are clear across social platforms. Repeated team orders, perceived British, leaning coverage, McLaren's dominance making races feel predetermined, and a personality that many still struggle to warm to. The issue isn't whether Norris deserved the championship. Factually, he did exactly what was required, delivered decisive overtakes, limited errors, and handled pressure from Verstappen and Piastri without collapsing in the final 2 rounds. But public reputation isn't shaped by data alone. It's formed by perceptions, radio messages, team decisions, media framing, and even associations with controversial figures such as Drake. Many accept that his title is legitimate, yet still feel the route taken towards it was filled with compromises that make the achievement harder to celebrate. So, how does a first-time world champion become one of the least-liked drivers on the grid at the very moment he reaches the top? And what are the concrete factors that have shaped this negative reaction? We'll break all of that down in this video. Before we get into it, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the full analysis. Norris's title is the product of a season where performance alone doesn't tell the full story. His drive in Abu Dhabi demonstrated why he was in contention at all: the execution under pressure, the clean overtakes, and the refusal to panic. When Verstappen and Piastri both applied real pressure, he had to pass Kimi Antonelli, Carlos Sainz, Lance Stroll, and Liam Lawson in quick succession after emerging from an early pit stop in traffic. His move on Stroll and Lawson at turn 9, diving past both in one motion, was a reminder that when the situation demands aggression, Norris can deliver it without hesitation. Moments later, he dispatched Yuki Tsunoda, despite Red Bull instructing Tsunoda to do all you can when he catches. The Japanese driver replied that he knew what to do. It was a tense sequence with stewards investigating both Tsunoda for moving twice and Norris for leaving the track. When Norris was cleared and Tsunoda penalized, the title picture finally stabilized. Yet this level of racecraft on the final day stands in contrast to the perception built over the season. For many fans, the central issue wasn't his driving, but the structure around him. The narrative of a manufactured championship originated early when McLaren repeatedly issued team orders in ways that appeared to favor Norris at Oscar Piastri's expense. In Hungary, Piastri undercut into the lead and was supposed to be given the position back almost immediately, but Norris resisted for nearly 20 laps, telling the team that Piastri was too slow and asking, "Why should I?" as he argued that he was the one fighting for the championship. He eventually complied, but the damage was done. After that, references to him sounding like a petulant child became common across social media. The controversy escalated further in Australia, Piastri's home race, where McLaren fitted Norris with fresh tires and instructed Piastri not to defend too hard. Norris went on to win, and the Melbourne crowd responded with clear boos on the podium. That sense of dissatisfaction sharpened in Monza, where Piastri again undercut Norris, yet was told to swap places because Norris was faster in the final stint and needed the points for the championship fight against Verstappen. Piastri complied without protest on the radio, but could later be heard saying, "I understand, but I don't agree." People who were already skeptical saw this as confirmation that the team was shaping the season around one driver. Drivers, pundits, and analysts offered their own views, but these rarely change public perception. When Norris was asked late in the year whether he was comfortable with how far McLaren had gone to support his campaign, he insisted, "I know people hate the team orders, but this is modern F1. If you have the faster car, you have to maximize points. I would do the same for Oscar if the situation was reversed." Many fans rejected that claim outright, pointing out that the situation never truly was reversed, even in races where Piastri had superior pace. The discomfort was compounded by the timing of McLaren's re-emergence as the quickest car. By mid-season, they held clear pace superiority with the MCL 39, often appearing unchallenged in clean air. Martin Brundle described Norris's vulnerabilities as something that made him the most popular driver, a line that did not land well among Verstappen and Piastri supporters who believed coverage leaned too heavily toward Norris. Complaints intensified when fan booing in Mexico and Monza was downplayed, with analysts saying fans were wrong to boo Lando, a judgment many felt dismissed frustrations outside the UK. This perceived media bias meant every McLaren decision and every moment Norris received praise was interpreted with skepticism. The same wheel-to-wheel errors that caused Norris to be criticized early in the year, such as running wide in Miami or inconsistent race starts, were framed differently once the title picture shifted. Verstappen continued to be scrutinized for aggressive driving, while Norris, many felt, received a far more forgiving narrative. Layered onto all this was a public persona that no longer aligned with the affable, self-deprecating figure fans once loved. Months of radio frustration, visible annoyance, and increasingly defensive comments led some to argue he had become harder to like. Old soundbites resurfaced, including remarks about Sebastian Vettel needing to focus on his driving, which critics used to argue his confidence had shifted toward arrogance. And then there was the Drake factor. The rapper's announcement that he had placed roughly $20 million on Norris to win the 2025 championship had immediate ripple effects because Drake was embroiled in serious allegations at the time. Even though Norris had no involvement, the association amplified hostility. The so-called Drake curse was repeatedly referenced. Once Norris began winning races, memes spun it as if the title was being bought or influenced externally. Meanwhile, the sporting context of the title ensured fans of both Verstappen and Piastri were emotionally primed to resent the final outcome. Verstappen mounted a remarkable comeback, clawing back a 104-point deficit by August to finish just 2 points behind. He stated in Qatar that if he had the McLaren, he would have wrapped the title earlier, which Norris dismissed as talking nonsense. Their rivalry remained mostly respectful but tense. Piastri's story added another layer. He led the standings from Saudi Arabia to Mexico, won 7 races in only his 3rd season, and showed remarkable racecraft. His late-season errors, including a costly crash in Baku and strategic blunders by McLaren, created an impression of wasted opportunities. When repeated team orders favored Norris, frustration among Piastri supporters intensified. The final stretch did little to help. The double disqualification in Las Vegas for plank wear wiped crucial points. Combined with strategy errors in Qatar, the suspicion of McLaren's dominance being inflated by questionable legality grew among rival fans, fair or not. Even with all these external pressures, Norris's closing stretch stands out as mentally resilient. After losing the championship lead to Piastri early in the season and suffering a mechanical DNF in the Netherlands that dropped him 34 points behind, he remained patient. From then on, his results improved sharply, but storylines rooted in loyalty or resilience often struggle to cut through louder narratives about unfairness or manipulation. All of this leaves us with a title campaign that is statistically strong, operationally complex, and narratively divisive. Norris did what a champion needs to do: survive pressure, execute in key races, and avoid catastrophic mistakes. But in an era where fan perception is shaped as much by social media as on-track performance, consensus on the merit of a title is no longer guaranteed. So the question is this: in an environment where a driver can perform at a championship-winning level, yet still face widespread hostility, what does deserving even mean? And how much does public sentiment really matter when defining the legacy of a champion?